Hi, I'm Hannah, this is Piles of Books, and today I'm going to be sharing our Term 2 school plans for 2024. Okay, so as I've mentioned in past videos, we kind of revamped our whole school system over the winter, and we started Ambleside Online. I have a year 3 and a year 1. And we are doing school 3 months on, 1 month off. So it's actually about 5 weeks. Each break is about 5 weeks. And so far it has worked really well. We are finished with our first term. We're almost finished with our first break, and we are looking forward to getting back into a school routine. So today I'm just going to share the books that I have for, again, my year 3, my year 1, and then also what my preschooler is doing. We don't really do a lot for preschool, but of course she wants to be included, and that's great. So I am going to share her books as well, and then I'm going to split this video in two. So I'm going to have what my kids are doing individually, and then also what we are doing together. All right, so I've got a pile of books sitting here beside me. I'm also going to share kind of our schedule. So let's get into it. So if you're not familiar with it, Ambleside Online is a Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum that focuses on living books over textbooks, things like nature study and the arts. So those are all things that are really important to our family. We were just very naturally drawn to Charlotte Mason, and we've done different we've been Charlotte Mason inspired really since the beginning, but it wasn't until January, here just a few months ago, that we really went headfirst into using a Charlotte Mason curriculum, and I must say we have not been happier. It has worked out so well for us. We love the books, we love the time spent together and everything that we're learning. It's been so great. So I'm going to leave Ambleside Online linked below so that you can check it out, and please let me know if you have any questions. I am by no means an expert, but I do enjoy having conversations about this wonderful curriculum. So like I said, I'm going to start with my preschooler, my year 0. So there's a list of books on the Ambleside curriculum under year 0, just different picture books and things like that. And we own most of those. A lot of them are just classic picture books like Virginia Lee Burton or Robert McCloskey, those types of books. So we will just continue, working through those, reading through those great books together. And then to make her, feel like a big kid, I've also got a couple of books from Memoria Press. I bought these at Mardell, but you can also find them online, obviously. So this is the Numbers coloring book, and I think she's only done, the number 0 in here. She kind of got into doing the letters there for a while, but it's just the number and then spelled out, and a picture, 2 binoculars, 3 trees. She has really enjoyed these books. And then the alphabet one is very similar. C is for cat and cap and cup. D is for doll, door, and dog. So just, again, really simple pictures for them to color, and the letters. And then she's got this notebook here that she uses just from time to time. Sometimes I might just, she needs something to do. Hey, can you go draw me a flower? Or hey, can you draw the sun? Or, we might read a short story together, and then, hey, can you draw me a picture about what we read? And just kind of practicing narration that way. So she uses this. And then the last thing is this McGuffey's. This is the Eclectic Primer in the original set. So this is what I've used my older 2 to read. Not so much. Well, we did use this book a little bit, but more one of the other books. Anyway, she sees the older kids using a McGuffey's book, and she wants one too. So this, we just use it for the alphabet pages at the beginning and just working on letter recognition. She is definitely one of those kids that I think later is going to be better for her. I do not push this at all. Just, we don't necessarily do it every day, but she does like to get out her school book and go through the letters with me. And we're not really doing the sounds or anything, just the names of the letters. So that is pretty much what she's doing. And then like I said, we are just reading picture books. We usually read like a nursery rhyme or a poem or something, and then I try to sing some songs every day with her and my youngest, you know, like the alphabet or row, row, row your boat, Sunday school songs, that sort of thing. So that's her very laid back preschool curriculum. Okay, so my year one, she is 6.5. She is not reading her school books on her own. She is starting to read more on her own, but I read her books with her, and then she does a narration. So these are her narration notebooks. She's just got one for history. We started out doing one for science, but then we switched to something else, so this is just kind of a blank one, and then Bible as well. So I didn't bring her Bible here to show you, but we do just read. Each week has a couple of Bible passages, maybe like 2 or 3, so we don't read Bible every day, but I'll show you here. So what we do is she just narrates to me after we do a reading, and then sometimes she'll draw a picture. I think there's more pictures in her Bible notebook. And I just write down exactly what she says. I try to. And yes, my hand is exhausted by the end of the time, but it is really special to me to have these keepsakes. And then this larger one is what she does like her literature narrations in. I'll find one here for you. Sometimes she gets really colorful and she, you know, goes slow and she does a really great job. And other times, I mean, it's a great job either way, but other times she just uses a pencil or a red pen or something and is kind of in a hurry. But I am grateful to have those. And then each day we read a poem. So in the first term, we did A.A. Milne's poetry books. And then this is the one that we're going to be using for this term. So these illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. I shared this in my library book haul. I just got this there recently. So we'll just read. There's definitely enough to do more than a poem a day. So she loves poetry. All my kids really do. So we'll read, you know, a poem or 2 a day from here. And then that's really all we do with this. She will have a couple of poems to practice or to memorize. So we do sometimes use this for like copy work or something, but mainly we just read the books or read the poems. And then for literature, we've got the Blue Fairy book. This is edited by Andrew Lang. So these stories are not Disney. Some of them are a little gruesome, but I would say she's mildly sensitive. She's not a super sensitive child, and these don't seem to bother her. So definitely this is one of those books I would definitely recommend pre-reading it before reading it with your children, because some children may not find these stories pleasant at all. Mine don't seem really fazed by them, but anyway, this is a fun one. And then also, I didn't see it on the shelf or I would have brought it. It's Aesop's Fables. Somebody must be reading it in their spare time, which is fine. But I mean, I think everybody knows what Aesop's Fables is. So we just read, I think in the first term there were like 2 per week, I think is what it was. So, and then the other one is Just So Stories by Rudyard Kipling. These, if you don't know what this is, these are like, it says these witty stories were originally told by Rudyard Kipling to his own children. In them, he gives fanciful accounts of how and why things came to be as they are. This is not my favorite book. I kind of find it a little annoying, maybe. I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite. However, my kids, they do really enjoy it. My son has read it multiple times on his own, and they laugh and make jokes about this book, and it's fine. And then for nature study, we have 2 books, and again, one was not on the shelf, so I don't know where it's at. I'm gonna have to find it before next week. I'm sure probably one of my kids is reading it, but this one is James Herriot's Treasury for Children. So these are just children's versions of the stories of James Herriot, a vet in England, I think. Is he in England? Anyway, these are gorgeously illustrated. We love this book so much. This is a not to miss book, in my opinion. Even if you're not doing Ambleside Online or Charlotte Mason really at all, if you have children, this book is a must read. We love this book. This is actually the second copy that we've owned of this because my first copy has completely fallen apart and it was my oldest's, so I need to replace that for him. But this is our family copy. The other thing that I forgot to mention for nature study, year 1 is the Burgess Bird book. So we just read a chapter and then I printed off these coloring sheets that some Ambleside mom put together. It's a great resource. And they just color those and we call it good. So nature study is basically science at this point. So for geography, we have Paddle to the Sea. This is by H.C. Halling. This is a really fun book. We have read this out loud as a family. My oldest has read it, I don't know how many, I'm not kidding, probably 10 times at least on his own. So this is the story of a little native boy who carved a canoe with a little native doll in it. I mean, he's not a doll because he's carved into the canoe. But anyway, he goes through the Great Lakes to the ocean. So let me see if there's a map in here. The white trail, it's kind of hard to see, but that is Paddle's trail through the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. So he started up here and went all this way. So she just has a map, a blank map that I printed off of the Great Lakes region. So like we labeled the Great Lakes, the Canadian provinces around the Great Lakes, and we're working on the states that surround the Great Lakes. And so pretty much just like once a week when we read a chapter from here, we might just add 1 or 2 states or landmarks to her map and just, talk about it a little bit. And then history is these 2 books, Our Island Story by H.E. Marshall. This is a history of England for boys and girls, even for Americans. I guess it is true, but British history is our history. So this kind of starts like at the beginning of, I don't know, civilization sort of, and then it just goes through 1901. So the end of the death of Queen Victoria is the last thing in here. But that one is that. And then also she did start that one in the first term, and then she will be adding this to it, Viking Tales by Jenny Hall in the second term. Oh, and then I guess there's one more, 50 Famous Stories Retold by James Baldwin. So this is just that, 50 Famous Stories Retold. There is stories Horatius at the Bridge, William Tell and the Apple, Sir Walter Raleigh. What else is there? Just all kinds of popular history stories, I guess. So those are all the books that she's reading, and I know it seems like a lot, but it comes down to we try to keep lessons to about 20 minutes. So that includes reading and narration. So her school is right about at an hour a day after we add in copy work and other things. Hour to an hour and a half, and piano practice and all of that. But those are the books that she reads. It actually does not take very long. It is not as overwhelming as it looks. But then she's also got the McGuffey's Pictorial Eclectic Primer. So this is the one that I really use to teach them to read. It starts out very, very simply, and then it progresses at a pretty steady clip. I'll have to look back and see where she left off with this because we did not use this at all in the first term. We were just I just wanted to try out just the Ambleside books. So we use this for spelling lists, copy work, just reading practice. We have really loved these books. And then for math, so my oldest has done some formal math, but not a lot. We haven't really done a lot of formal math. So these are really just kind of hilarious stories about a 5-year-old math genius professor at Kittens University, and the math lessons are it's kind of sneaky. You don't really know that you're learning math. Anyway, this book I'm probably just gonna do 1 or 2 lessons per week. So there is so much information about the Life of Fred books out there. I'm not really going to share a lot here today for time reasons, but we have really enjoyed these. They are fun. Like I said, they're kind of sneaky. You don't really know that you're learning math, but they are extremely effective too. So anyway, I can definitely share more about these if you would like to hear more at another time. But yeah, this is what she'll be doing for math. And the other thing that she has, I just created these recitation pages for her. I've been doing this for, I don't know, a year and a half probably, been making these for my kids. So she's just got some Bible verses to memorize and then some poems. And I just think it's kind of fun to have, you know, a nice sheet that has, you know, some cute little illustrations or something on it. I have a lot of fun making these for them. And then they're also keepsakes. We just keep them in a notebook or a file for them later on. So the verses and the poems come from Ambleside Online. They have recitation selections for each year. So I didn't come up with this on my own. So this is just for one term. So she had, you know, pages like this for the first term, finished those, and now she'll be moving on to the second term. And then my year 3, this is his stack. So I should have organized these a bit better, I guess, before I started filming. So he's got his narration notebooks. Again, just history, science, and Bible. And he would probably be totally embarrassed if I showed you in his notebooks. So I'm not going to do that today, at least without asking him. But then he will also be doing Life of Fred. He has worked all the way through the first 4 books. So I'm going to have him probably work through these a little faster, you know, maybe at least a lesson a day, probably more than that. I did see online a while ago, probably a couple years ago, somebody said like what she did with her kids was she just had them, you know, go through the books until it was too hard. Then they take a break and they start back at the beginning and they go through the books again. My kids are coming in, it's getting windy. So I'm going to try to finish this up, but that is math for him. And then something else that I did not mention for my year 1, I got this book, The Palmer Method. And so they're just going to both be working through the exercise sheets in here. This is cursive writing. I think it's beautiful. And so we haven't really done any formal handwriting. We've just done copy work, but I feel like we need to do something. And I've been doing some research on it lately, and I think we're just going to kind of skip over print handwriting lessons and go straight to cursive. Okay. So for science, he has this, A Drop of Water by Walter Wick. This book is fabulous. Even if you do not do Charlotte Mason or Ambleside Online or anything, this is such a fun book. And there are experiments at the back. We have loved this, and this is one of those that I think I'm going to look forward to all of my kids doing. Along with A Drop of Water is Pagoo by H.C. Halling. This is the same author and illustrator as Paddle to the Sea. So again, this is just a fascinating book. This is about a hermit crab, just the whole life cycle of a hermit crab named Pagoo and all of the adventures and things throughout his life. There are other like tide pool animals and things that are mentioned in here. So this is a super fun one. Again, we have read this out loud, and my year 3, who is currently reading this for school, has read this book multiple times on his own, but he is still learning a lot just by slowing down and doing narrations and all of that with it instead of just breezing through the book. And then for like a biography, they have a couple of options each term. He's going to be starting out with this one, Bard of Avon, The Story of William Shakespeare by Diane Stanley. And then this will only get him through, I'll probably spread this out over like 6 weeks. And then after that, he'll do the Good Queen Bess biography option as well. But these are fun. The illustrations are nice. There's lots of illustrations. And he has enjoyed, he's read a number of these. I don't know if he's read the Shakespeare one, but he's done some of the other ones that we've just gotten from the library at different times. And he always enjoys them. And then his geography is Marco Polo. So he did a Marco Polo picture book that had maps and stuff in it in the first term. And I think some people spread it out over the entire school year, but that was just going to be way too slow for us. So he read the whole book, and then I bought this one. I think this is the one that Ambleside really recommends. So this one doesn't have any pictures or anything in it. And, but again, just like with my year 1 student, he has a blank map, or it was blank, and he just marks the different landmarks and cities and countries and things just throughout Marco Polo's travels, and just then learning obviously all about that part of Europe and Asia. And the other thing I forgot to mention, excuse my dirty gardening fingers, is my year 3's history. So this is one of the books, and then the other one, I haven't decided yet which I'm going to do. They give some different options, but he will probably be doing some of these on audio just to save me a little bit of time. But this one he really likes, This Country of Ours. It's also by H.E. Marshall, just like the year 1 Our Island Story. And the literature selections that he's doing, he's got American Tall Tales. So this is just different, you know, like Paul Bunyan, Pecos Bill, Davy Crockett, Mike Fink. And I think he only read just a few out of this in the first term, so he'll be going through that again. And then this is a new one, The Children of the New Forest by Captain Marryat. He's never read this book. I've never read this book, but it does look interesting, so I think he's going to really like this one a lot. As well as The Heroes by Charles Kingsley. So this is one that he, again, began in term 1, and he will just be reading more through it. So this is a mythology book. This is his literature narration notebook. And this is his McGuffey's reader that he's going to be doing. This is the second reader. I think he's already started this one. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look back through their old papers, but this is not like second grade. There's 5 readers. There's the eclectic reader, and then the first, second, third, and fourth, and it takes you all the way through school. So this is like, these aren't just easy little stories, but then this one, I think this is the first one that has questions at the end of each story. So not necessarily, well, there are some comprehension questions, but like you know, points out different vocabulary words and all of that. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to make him do those things, but again, we just like it for copy work and the spelling lists and that part. And then his poetry book, I just bought the Ambleside Online poetry anthology. They make one of these for each year. We did have some of these, but I just went ahead and bought the book last term, and that just made it easier just to be able to read from. And then he has his recitation pages. So he's going to be doing some Bible verses, obviously, some different ones here. And then also it's Exodus 20, 1 through 17, which is the 10 Commandments. So that I put on 2 pages because it didn't all fit on one. And then I think probably because there's all of that scripture memory, the poems are really short, and there's only 2 of them. The Coin by Sarah Teasdale and April by Sarah Teasdale. So again, I just designed these little pages for him on Canva, something I really like to do for them. And, you know, they're keepsakes. We keep them in a notebook, and they're fun to look back on. All right, so just really quickly, I wanted to share how I plan. It's so easy, you guys. It's a lot of books. Like it looks like a lot of books in a stack. It looks like a lot of books on a shelf. And I was kind of overwhelmed when I first came across Ambleside Online a couple years ago, or several years ago actually, before my kids were even in school. And that is kind of why I steered away from it. But we're just at a different season in life right now, and I have always been drawn to it just for various reasons. So I thought, we're just gonna try it. Just give it a go. If it doesn't work out, we'll do something different. Not a big deal. And as I was planning like the first couple weeks in term 1, I realized how easy it actually is. So they make it even easier for you than what I've done here. I wrote out each week because I can't remember why. There were some books that I just took out we weren't going to be using, and I did kind of miss that they had like printable schedules, but they do. You can print the whole year's 36-week schedule. It's really easy. Anyway, I just wrote them out, and then I have year 1, week 13. I just wrote the readings out, and then I counted them. There's 9 readings that week. So she's going to be, we do school 4 days a week, so she's going to be reading, she's going to have 2 readings each day, except for one day she's going to have 3 readings. That's all there is to it. And then I sit down like on a Sunday evening, and I find, I'll have to show you an old one because I don't have any of the new ones written out. And I do it each week because I do kind of have a framework of, you know, which weeks we're going to be doing school. But like in term 1, we had a couple of weeks where we were sick. So I had to rearrange things a little bit, move things around. And I'm glad that I hadn't just planned out the whole term. So I just do it by week. And then this is our together school that I'll talk about in another video, but then I just, you know, this is what my year 3 has to do on Monday, and then this is what my year 1 has to do on that same day, and this includes everything like piano, copy work, recitation. This is all of it. It looks like a lot, but it's actually just a little bit every day. That's it. That's how easy it is. And I do think that, and myself included, a lot of people think that Ambleside Online is not an open and go curriculum because it doesn't come in a box at the beginning of the school year with all of the books. But it is really so easy. I mean, so easy. Alright, so that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. I know this is a little bit out of the ordinary, sharing my kids' school plans, but it is what it is. I did want this channel to be not just about my own books, but about my kids' as well. One thing I didn't mention is that they also have a free read list each year. So those are just books that the kids read on their own time. You know, they're really good, high quality books, but they're not in the schedule. So I don't push it. I just, you know, remind them every couple of weeks, why don't you go read At the Back of the North Wind or whatever it is, just to make sure that they are getting those good books in. But they are really just fun, high quality, but fun books that my kids I've never had any pushback from my kids about reading them. So, like I said, I will share another video of the things that we do together, but those are what my kids are doing individually. I hope that you liked seeing this and that it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer. Like I said, I will leave Ambleside Online linked in the description box, and we will see you in the next video.